Hi kids, something a little different this week. Working on the Odyssey, and most of what I've done today has not been on video because, well, frankly, I've got to get it done. If you've been watching the series, you've heard me mention that my wife uses a power wheelchair, an electric wheelchair. It's very big and bulky, and we use this Honda Odyssey to transport it. And for the longest time, I've used these folding aluminum ramps, which are awesome. They're absolutely awesome. They're about $200 from a website called discountramps.com. They fold up. If you've got a van, they're pretty easy to stow. But I wanted something a little more automated and a little easier for my wife's friends to use if they're driving her around town. So let me show you what I got. It's called a Bruno Joey lift. If you guys watched my 900-mile drive in the Element video, this is what I was going to get, was this lift. And got it on eBay for $500, which is considerably less than they are new. They are thousands of dollars new. It bolts into the floor. I kind of had to hobble together a kit for installing this out of a kit for a Toyota Sienna and a Dodge Caravan, but this is what I ended up with. I did have to drill through the floor and through the back seat. I've still got to tuck the wiring away. This is just kind of rudimentary. You can hear the motor working pretty good because that's about a 300-pound chair. And I'm not sure, I may have to try and go with a bigger alternator, or I'm actually thinking of some kind of deep cycle battery to put back here in the back to help assist the amount of power that this thing requires. When you get done, you turn it off, in, out, 2 buttons, easy to use. So if you don't have mobility issues, this may not be the most fascinating video for you. But if you do have mobility issues, one of the things you've probably encountered is the ridiculous price of just getting around in the world. Wheelchairs are expensive, mobility vehicles are expensive, ramps and lifts are expensive. This van cost me $5 grand. That lift cost me $500. So for $5,500, I've built a wheelchair lift van. Because accessibility and mobility are part of my everyday life, occasionally you're going to see videos on this channel about how to make things operate easier or do things in a more costly manner. One of the things you're advised to do with wheelchairs in a vehicle is to tie it down so that if you have a wreck, it doesn't end up in the front seat. However, that rack means that you don't actually have to do that. That should prevent it from coming forward in the vehicle. It does have tie downs if you are just nervous and want to try and go ahead and try and do that. And another thing I'm going to do is probably put some airbag assists on the back here to try and lift the ride height back up where it should be. It's a little squishy in turns with this lift, with all this weight back past the back axle. The mechanical part of the install is done. What I got to do now is clean up the wiring a little bit. I'm running it through the proper wire channels. We've gone up through the firewall up there, and going with a little bit heavier gauge wire because you know, it needs all the ooga-doogas and the amps that it can get, and I'd rather not have my wiring melt. So I've pulled all this plastic floor trim off, and I'm running it through the proper channels. Because, you know, this is my fancy car. I'm going to come back to here, and then I'm going to run it underneath the carpet over to the actual lift over there, where it's all going to hook up. So until next week, this is Clint Searcy saying like and subscribe and watch Scavenger Type.